This is a very exciting episode because I did something a little bit different. For me, the reason why I have so many guests on is because I love to expose people to different modalities, different ways of gaining insight into your wisdom and exploring who you are and what you're here to do. And I think if you don't try things, you don't know. And if you've never observed a session, how would you know what it looks like? So stay tuned for this one because at the end, I got a tarot reading done and I really wanted to share it with people. And, I didn't put the whole thing in. And also, tarot is often practiced very differently. But, if you've never tried it or you want to see what's coming up for me in the near future, then stay tuned till the end. Lots of love. Hello everyone, welcome to this week's episode of Wisdom Within. I'm joined by Marv Machura in Canada, British Columbia, and I would love him to talk a bit about his gifts, his services, and introduce yourself as well.
Thank you, Talia. So I'm very pleased to be here as well. I am a practicing psychic and also an author of a recent book on the tarot called the Five-Card Pentagram Tarot. Other aspects of my background, or I've been a teacher my whole life. I've been a classroom-centered teacher, also a media scholar, and a musician.
Wow.
A lot of musicians are also psychic. I believe we all are psychic to some degree, but musicians tend to be, as a group, this has been proven by research too, more psychic than, say, your average person. I was drawn to your podcast, of course, Wisdom Within. I thought this is something that interests me as well. I listened to a few of them, and you're very, very nice, very good, very probing. And so I'm very honored to be with you today, Talia, and speak with your guests and with you.
Oh, thank you so much. You sound like such a multi-talented person, and I'm honored to have you here. And I want to it feels right to go into your journey with developing your psychic gifts. How did they come online and what was that journey for you?
Yeah, very good. Yeah, well, for me, it started when I was quite young. I was different, I guess, than most children. I thought everybody could astral travel. For example, when I was say, 4 or 5 years old, I thought everybody did that, And anyhow, my family on my mother's side, my Guido, was the one who really brought it to me. He was known as a water witch. There's a Ukrainian term for it, but it's not important. It sort of translates to that. So he found water underground for all of his neighbors. Of course, this is when the settlement of Western Canada was happening, and a lot of Ukrainian immigrants were moving to my other province, Alberta. And anyway, he showed me how to do it, and I think I was maybe 6 or 7 years old, and I couldn't believe it. It was magic. When you feel the willow stick, it actually moves in your hands. He said, "Marv, you have the electricity. You've got to listen to that." And he didn't make a big deal out of his special powers. He just lived it. Like that generation, they were so close to the land. Like he could tell you the weather, what it was going to be like all winter. It's going to be a snowy winter. And he would just say things like that, and he knew somehow. It wasn't, and it was real magic. He didn't have to do spells or anything like that. It was just like, this is how it is. You tune into the vibrations of underground water, because everything is vibrations, and that showed me that I had that gift, I guess. And I was intrigued by it, and I've sort of made a study of it through my whole life, always looking at metaphysical things, magical things, if you will. And I used to read cards quite early in life, like in my teens, but I read the regular deck. Somehow I never got into the tarot, but I could just like put the cards down. They're very similar. Once you study the numbers and the suits and stuff like that, there's quite a bit of similarity between the regular deck and the tarot deck. So I don't know. I just never made the effort to buy a tarot, as crazy as that sounds. And I would read cards just for friends and neighbors, and parties,
Mm.
things like that. People would ask me, "Well, you're the guy who can tell the future," like and that sort of thing.
Mm.
And I became a teacher, a musician all my life. And it was about 2020 when, of course, the horrible pandemic was here across the world, and I couldn't play anywhere as a musician uh, in my regular spots, like bars. That was shut down. And like a guy like me, I need to play. That's performance is so much what I do as a musician.
Mm.
So there was the farmers market here in town. They would let performers perform, busking. You just open up your case and play, and people would come to the farmers markets. They were masked, but they would it was outdoors, I guess. So, and I had 2 hours to perform. And one day after my 2 hours was up, I thought, I'm here already. Maybe I could make a little extra money by reading cards. And that's when the idea came to me to perhaps pursue this. And Natalia, it wouldn't let me go until I saw it through. Until
Mm.
I got a tent and I bought a new tarot deck. And we can talk about this too. But I just walked into a Chapters, which is a local bookstore, and whatever, picked this deck, and this deck changed my life. It's very important to me, and I'll maybe talk about that if you want a little bit more. But then I started researching the tarot in depth. Started writing my book about it. Just jumped into professional psychic readings, and started reading at farmers markets, and primarily at first. And I haven't looked back from that. I've again published the book. I've got online. I've toured with a national psychic group. I tour with local groups here that do psychic readings. And I don't see any ceiling happening to me yet. And then I'm talking to you right now about this. Because, say 7 years ago, I would have never had done that. I would have been just safely away in my classroom teaching English literature.
Yeah.
And, here I am talking to you about this particular thing. So, and Talia, it's as a musician, I'd be the last person to say I'm not gifted musically. I do have talent, let's say. But talent is cheap. The talent is spread across the universe really far and wide. It's what you do with the talent. And, you get,
Mm.
just like practicing guitar, which I'm mainly a guitarist and singer-songwriter, you get better at it. And like I can tell your guests too, you don't just jump in to start being a psychic. The more you do of it, you get better at it, especially if you're focused on improving your skills. I don't see any ceiling. I can see even for music and for psychic abilities and practice. The more you practice, the better you get.
Yeah.
And so that's where I am right now. I've been practicing now professionally as a psychic for 5 years. Mhm.
And how do you find that your tarot impacts people?
Oh, I think it helps them forward in their journey for their self-awareness. They come with a lot of different reasons why they come, but usually they're seeking some answers to life's problems and to understand their human condition in some way. The tarot is a very full-on examination of things that can happen to us as human beings and our relationship to the one, the universe, the great spirit, the purpose of life. Why are we here? How can we move on in joining in with the universal spirit and not be alone? But that's why it works so well as a divination tool, because it's a graphic representation of what it means to be human and what it means to be a child of the universe, a
Mm.
spiritual being having a human experience. The way metaphysical's vibrations work is that we connect in on a different frequency, and then that card that happens to show up in the reading is the card that you need to hear at that particular time in your life,
Yeah.
whatever question it is. And much like I'd say, like divining water, the willow stick is the tool, but myself as the medium, I'm really just making myself a channel to find out where that vibration is coming from, the flowing water or water underneath the ground. and I channel it so that the stick moves down. So I channel our connection through the tarot cards with shuffling and then pulling the card, let's say magically, I guess, that you need to hear. And that card is the tool that leads to the interpretation. It's not the only thing, but it's part of it. It's a big part, because the other part is the psychic connections, and I can see into your past and future kind of that way. It comes to me as sort of imagery.
Yeah.
The tarot is that tool that provides that connection. But the most popular deck is a Rider-Waite deck, which was designed in the 19 or 1820s, I think. And most tarot decks follow that. But in the 1930s, Aleister Crowley and Harris, mainly led by him and the New Dawn Society, they saw the new era that's coming into our world, which is, we're in it right now. The old world is ending and the new world is beginning. And so they thought, we need a new tarot deck to represent this new world that's coming, the new millennium. And both of them designed this particular deck. And it's sort of, I guess it's number 2 in the world right now. It's gaining popularity because it speaks to people much better than it used to. And if you look back on the history of the tarot, it goes back, we don't know how many millennium, and it's changed a lot of times depending on what is needed at that time. It's a flexible medium. It has that ability to change. It's not stuck in time. And the previous age was an age of kings and queens and royalty, and we're moving out of this age right now. And this particular deck, that's one of the main, they're very similar. A lot of the cards are similar, but in this particular deck, the Millennium Thoth, and Thoth was the Egyptian god of wisdom, who's has no king. The king is out of this deck. And that really speaks to me, because I know that this era that we're moving into right now is an era that's going to be free from the kind of fear and corruption that happens when power is given to a king. Your children's children's children are not going to know leaders like Putin and others that are corrupt. The corrupt and very powerful and run on fear. The idea of dying for king and country is over in this new age. A new age is coming. So that speaks very strongly to me. So that's why I think a lot of tarot people will disagree with me on this, but I think the Rider-Waite deck has served its time.
What would a leader in the new age be like?
Well, the new age leader is a leader that's based on love, not fear. People who love. Love is a far more powerful force than fear. And the leaders that are operating, like say Putin, he's a leader who's like a leader in a prison camp. He's the strong man, and only reason why people do his bidding is that they're afraid of him. They're not motivated by love. As a school teacher, a classroom teacher, I know this myself too. And I know there's 2 kinds of teachers. There's teachers that operate on love, and there's the ones that operate on fear. Fear is a very powerful force to control your class. You can control it through discipline, and because the students fear you.
Yeah.
When you control or when you become a leader because of love, it's not even close to what fear is. And love is love is what God is, what the universe is. And that's what's changing too in this new age. Our conception of God is being rewritten to this loving, kind God, which of course starts with Jesus. But that was 2,000 years ago. These changes take time to come into fruition, and we've had 2,000 years of the age of Pisces. I'm not sure if you're in tune with that. The precession of the equinoxes.
Yeah.
So, and that we're moving into the age of Aquarius.
Yeah.
And there's a reason why the fish was a symbol of Christianity, because that's the age of Pisces. See, this is all connected in the universe. Yeah. And Aquarius is the female principle, the loving, kind principle, moving up beside the male principle where it belongs. And because we're at the end of the age of Pisces, all these evil things of the male principle are coming out very strongly. Like trying to desperately maintain control because they know it's slipping away.
Mm.
And we are very
Amazing.
blessed to be living in this time of transition.
I know, it's a crazy time to be alive. Anyone
Crazy
here
time
who's
to be alive.
listening?
I think that's why, so many people are tuning into people like me, who are into metaphysics, and yourself too, because they're wondering, where are we going? Why is this happening? What is the future holding for us?
Yeah,
And,
beautiful.
like I went to church when I was a kid in a very strict, like, say, the Roman Catholic Church, very male dominated. The idea that the punishing evil God, not evil, but good God, but you're scared, fear. And we had a icon painted on the dome of the church. It was an old man with flowing beard and glowing eyes, and he was actually pointing down at the congregation like an absolute, like and I remember as being a boy, and I could barely look up at that image because it was so frightening.
Yeah.
That's going to change. That's changing as we speak. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And what do you say to people to help them navigate these changes and the
Don't be
shifts
afraid.
going on?
Don't be afraid.
Mm.
Learn to control your fear.
Mm. And obviously the opposite of fear is love, or the vibration you want to anchor in is love. But
That's right.
how do you anchor in love when there's so much fear around? I asked this for the collective. Yeah.
Okay, that's really, really, really great question. But you've got to realize that life is very temporal. This is a temporal existence. We are human beings. We're spiritual beings having a human experience. We should not be afraid of dying. We should learn to live like you're going to die, because you're going to. We're kind of living with fear. Everybody's scared to death. Why are they doing Putin's bidding, for example? Why are they laying down their lives and killing other people, even if they know that's wrong? Because they're afraid. And what are they afraid of? They're afraid of dying. Like, otherwise you wouldn't follow his precepts. I mean, it seems like a simple thing to say, and I know it's way more complicated than that. But it's a motivation that most of us have. Somewhere in our life, like we're afraid of losing our jobs. We're afraid of, but we're fundamentally, it's a fear of a fear of dying. And when you overcome, or when you can conquer that fear, when you're no longer afraid, you've got so much faith. You know that when you die, it's just a transition point. It's moving on to a better place, and that there's a purpose why we die. We have to die. And I think when we think about that more, and we come to terms with it, and a lot of people, I mean, I see this a lot. They say, "Oh, I'm not afraid of dying. I'm just afraid of how." That's that doesn't really hold water, because even if your death is the most horrible death possible, like really painful, it's only very temporal. It's very small part of what you're moving from this life to the other side, which is completely better than this side.
Yeah, exactly.
But then if your fear of, if you like most people, like the fear of God, I guess, would be like God's gonna punish you. I don't think so. I know so. It's not that way. You punish yourself for your wrongdoing, because we have that free will. We know the wisdom is within, as I could use your expression. Everybody, if they know when they've done wrong, it's right in our DNA. That's why it's like, and That's why those great words are, forgive us our sins as we forgive those who sin against us.
Yeah.
That's very, and lead us not into temptation. We know those things are there. We know when we do wrong.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, thank you for sharing all of that. And do you have any last bits of wisdom you want to share before we go into the reading?
Okay. No, let's just jump right into your reading, Talia.
Okay, so I may
Okay.
or may not include this, but I really wanted
Yeah.
to show you guys what a reading is for anyone who hasn't had one, and so you can get more insight into what it looks like and the cards and all of that. And at the same time, we'll see what I want to share. So,
Okay.
because I'm moving through a lot right now, so I have a feeling something big's going to come up potentially, and I don't know how vulnerable I want to be with my audience. But if you are listening and I've decided to keep it, then enjoy. We'll see. And maybe you can
So
intuit.
there's all kinds. Okay, so very good. So there's all kinds of ways we can read the cards, as you may or may not know. There's all kinds of layouts. So if I think what I'll do with what I typically do is let me do a 5-card reading for you that is based on the ancient pentagram. It's a symbol of good fortune and good protection, right? So
Mm-hmm.
what we're going to do is we're going to draw 5 cards from each part of the deck, or 1 card from each part of the deck. Sorry. All right.
Okay.
And now this is your. What we can do this a couple of different ways. We can either do right now, what you need to hear right now, or what's coming up in your near future, or we can go a little bit into your past, what's affecting your present time. There's a way to do all 3 at once, but let's just focus on one particular way. All right.
Ooh.
Typically, let's look at your near future. How about that?
Okay. Well, I guess
Okay.
that combines the present and past anyway.
And time is a little odd, but it's in the metaphysical world, it could be within a month, or it may be a year. We'll see. But this is just a quick look into your. So we'll start with an ancient blessing that comes along with the 5-card spread. May your troubles be less and your blessings be more, and nothing but happiness come through Talia's door. Okay? We're going to start with the most important card, which is your spirit card. Nothing's more important to the universe than your spirit. You're a human being you're a spiritual being having a human experience. Okay? Give me a number between 1 and 5, please.
3.
Okay, you drew the Hierophant. In some decks, it's called the Pope. You're going to be called upon to pass your wisdom to other people in the near future. This card is often called the teacher card, and I almost didn't need to pull it because I knew that in you. You have a desire to share your knowledge and what you know with other people, and it's very powerful. And this is a card I can say right now you're on the right path, Talia, in terms of what you're doing with your podcast and sharing your knowledge with people. Your spirit is in the right place, and you will carry this card, the Hierophant, with you for a long time into the future. I don't see it going away. Um, let's look a little bit more into the next card here, because everything's connected. And the next card that we're going to draw from is the Wands of the Tarot. This is what they call the trumps, or the major mysteries, the spirit. So we move from the spirit to your body. Okay.
Okay.
And aside from your spirit, your health and your body is the next most important thing, because without it, what can you do? Right. Okay. So these are the suit of wands in the tarot. So think of the element fire. Okay. Just put fire in your imagination and give me a number between 1 and 5.
5.
Okay. The Princess of Wands.
Ooh.
Okay. And that does not surprise me either. As you move on in your life and you feel the sense of purpose coming into your life more strongly than you perhaps have in a little way, your bonfire inside is just going to be burning like the princess here. She's just jumping off the card in energy. And this happens in times of when everything seems to be going right for you, and in terms of you have an innate sense that I'm doing the right thing at the right time. And this kind of bonfire will not last forever, but it will last for a while. It's not the slow burning fire of the night. It's the big blaze that is transformational for you. So the more you can make this time in your life that you're about to head into, you're going to make big strides with your spirit and your health as you move forward. They're very much connected here, and very powerful cards. Important for you. You would you do well with the color red and orange right now, like those kind of either gemstones or candles, clothing even. I'm seeing a burst of confidence that you're missing, but it's coming to you. That you have, because you're very cautious and you're second guessing yourself a lot. Anyway, let's move on to the next card. Okay, we're gonna move into the cups. They are the hearts in the regular deck, and so this is the element water. Your emotions are always changing like water. They have to, otherwise it gets stale. You can't be happy all the time, All right, so emotion. Think of water and give me a number between 1 and 5.
4.
The 8 of cups. Okay, this, as I can see, you're moving through a transition time in your life, and it's your heart's been broken, and it's I'm sorry for that, but
It's okay.
what you have to realize, Talia, your heart is it's still there. So don't make any rash thing. Don't say you'll never fall in love again. Don't do that. Your heart is very much full, and it's world transition, and these kind of emotional things have to happen for the learning purpose. Let's move on to the next card. This is the element air, because you can't. What are thoughts? They're air, right? Can't stop. Can't stop breathing. This is very nice. You drew the 2 of Swords. It's a beautiful card, and I see that you've been dealing with a mental conflict, like deciding 2 different things are competing in your mind, taking up a lot of your energy, and it's time to end that. You're going to end that with a compromise. It's not going to be a win, but it's not going to be a loss, But it's time to settle it. And again, might find that compromise in your mind, because it's coming. It's that you're spending too much time thinking about something that's between 2 competing items, right? And there's a middle ground there that you have to find, and you're going to find it. And it's going to be very good. And once you find it, and you feel that energy moving forward, like again, you're going to be, your body, your whole system is going to be vibrating at a higher energy.
Yeah.
It's you're kind of in a holding pattern right now, and that's going to end soon. But your wisdom that you've gathered is not going to end. That's going to carry with you forward. And don't be surprised if people continue to reach out. This is very much a card. Be prepared for people to come to you, and I don't think you'll have any issues with helping them forward either. You'll in fact like that. This is, I've known this myself in my life. I feel a spiritual connection to you too for that reason. People are drawn to you for your wisdom. And I love your title too, Wisdom Within. It's this card is right. If I could pick a card for you, that would be it. But the metaphysical vibrations gave you that one. Okay, one more card in the deck. There's five tarot parts. There's the material part. We have spiritual, physical, emotional, mental, and material. This is the pentagrams, the coins in some decks. Okay, so just don't think about what do you want materially. Just give thanks, of course, first. Live in gratitude. Practice gratitude every day. That's really important. Okay, so a little prayer of all the things you have, and we'll just say, what do you need to hear about your material well-being as you travel forward? The Queen. You drew the Queen of Pentacles. Okay, when this particular reading is done, I usually put the cards away, because I have to separate the deck up into its parts for that. And then
Okay.
what we'll do is we'll take an unseparated deck, in other words, a deck that's all mixed up. Again, for people to listen, psychics can do these kind of things. There's specific questions or general questions, or just a general like look at the whole picture, the health kind of check. I could say like with the 5-card reading. You're going to be putting things together. Again, I think it's underpinned all by the desire of teaching people forward, but you've got really creative ideas about that that I haven't even envisioned yet. But there's ways of teaching and transmitting to others that you are going to discover. It'll be very beneficial for the world. You've got newness written all over you, or you've got the alchemy in you. You know, you should be very grateful for that alchemy.
Yeah.
You're certainly not one-dimensional in any level. Well, ultimately, you're teaching, like, you know, people, like I always say, like when I was a teacher, I sometimes taught music, sometimes taught English, but ultimately I taught people. Like
Mm.
the subjects are not that as important as the idea that you're helping people forward.
Mm.
You just to see the transformation in somebody else that you've directed
Mm.
is what teachers do. Whether it's like, I don't see you teaching algebra, but even if you taught that, you would be teaching with a spiritual connection that would be amazing.
Anyway, I'm really grateful for this
Well,
call,
I'll
and
talk to you across the world.
yes, what a gift, what a gift.
Yes.
Lots of love.
Same to you.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much for being here. I just wanted to let you know that I'm currently offering free one-to-one connection calls, which are 30 minutes and is a space for you to learn more about working with me one-to-one, and we can both explore how I can help you and serve you. And also, you'll be able to ask any questions about my upcoming retreat in France and Iceland in 2025. If you want more information on booking this or on the retreats, check out the show notes, and also follow me on Instagram to stay up to date. If you loved this episode, please subscribe on YouTube, Apple or Spotify. Thank you so much for all your support, and I'm sending so much love. Have a beautiful day. Bye.